This is my final presentation for SE 706. My name is Samantha Butera. Welcome everybody to the meeting today to talk about our newest student, Jocelyn. She'll be joining us January 3rd. In this meeting, I will go over our school, our neighborhood, Jocelyn's information, her background and educational history. I'll talk about her IEP, in particular what services she receives, as well as her goals. We'll talk about accommodating her work and how best to do that. We'll talk about inclusion strategies. We'll hear from her previous teachers about behavior management and observations that they have had. And we'll close the meeting to talk about collaboration with each other amongst this team to make sure that Jocelyn is successful. This is Jocelyn. She is a vibrant, outgoing sixth grader, and she loves to run. That's what she is doing in this photo. She'll be joining our school, Exceptional Academy, which you all know is a charter school in East Boston and Chelsea. We serve 224 students per school in the 5th through 8th grades, and we also now have a high school. So hopefully Jocelyn will be attending the high school going forward. As you know, this is a largely Hispanic population, and we have a very high number of students who are English language learners. We also have a high population of students who are high needs. Jocelyn lives and grew up in East Boston, which is the neighborhood that we are in. It's a population of 40,000 people. As we know, the housing rates are rising here. This has become a very popular place to live. The population is still on the older side, and the median household income is significantly below the state average. These are things to keep in mind. We do not know Jocelyn's economic standpoint right now, but we do know that this is the population of people that typically live in East Boston, and we are seeing significant changeover in this city right now, so things are evolving as we speak. To give you a little bit of information about Jocelyn, she is 11 years old. She speaks Spanish at home and English with her friends and in school fluently. She has been given the primary disability of the specific learning disability in reading. This just happened. Her evaluation was pretty recent. She currently receives OWL services, but is on the higher level of her abilities in the English language. She was born with a velopharyngeal, and I'm sorry about the pronunciation of that word, insufficiency, which means that the quality of her speech is impaired. Nonetheless, she speaks fully intelligibly, and she's been able to really progress over the years with this medical disability. She was put on an IEP in 3rd grade under a communication disorder. Like I said, that was recently changed to a specific learning disability in reading. She also broke her wrist last year, which has made it really challenging for her to write letters, on top of some other things that were already challenging for her to use her handwriting. So she receives occupational therapy. She lives at home with 8 family members, so a packed house. She lives with her mother, and her father lives in Chelsea, which is just the next town over. She loves running club. She loves makeup, socializing, and she came from the Mario Academy, which is just down the street from us. Some strengths about this wonderful child. She has been described by her teachers as kind and expressive. She really values people who are supportive and actively listening to her. She describes herself as smart, and she really wants to do well in school. She believes she does better in class when she has something to look at and can discuss with a shoulder partner. She requires read aloud and speech-to-text technology, and she's made significant progress in her comfort level with using these tools, and she's really willing to use them at this point and is excited to use them. Generally, she is motivated to do well overall, although sometimes it's hard for her to understand that the small things she does every day add up to big accomplishments, and so she gets a little bit stuck in that, in pushing herself on a day-to-day basis. Her weaknesses are a few things. She has a lot of trouble following directions, especially multi-step directions, and this has to do with her expressive and receptive communication skills. She has difficulty recalling directions, and that really impacts her ability to learn in a classroom. With language, she has challenges understanding word relationships, understanding spoken and written paragraphs, and making inferences. In reading, she has challenges in her phonological awareness and her fluency. And then in executive function skills and social emotional skills, she is not going to be the most organized student. She can have trouble maintaining attention, likely because she has trouble following along. And so therefore, if you don't really understand what's happening, you can get distracted more easily. She has trouble keeping track of her assignments and her assignment completion. She has difficulty communicating her feelings to peers and can come across as a little bit abrasive sometimes to peers, and regulating her emotions in class. This is a view of her 5th grade report. She was doing not great at the beginning of the year in 5th grade, but she was passing, so she was getting low 70s. Quarter 2 and quarter 3, she kind of shot down in her math, and ELA, she kind of worked her way back up by quarter 3, and then both quarters she was kind of back up into that passing zone. What this tells us is that when things get hard, she does tend to kind of dip in her motivation. And so this is something we need to be cognizant of as she comes into our school at the start of at the end of quarter 2, because she's going to be in that mindset of like, I don't want to do this. And we have to kind of do some things to help motivate her. Now I'm going to jump into her IEP. Jocelyn receives several services throughout the week. She's one of our more highly serviced students, and so this is something to keep in mind when we are working with her. She is meeting with a lot of learning specialists, service providers on a daily basis, and this is making things, this could make things very challenging for her because there's a lot she's working on in addition to her content classes. So just to run through this, as a learning specialist, I will be working with her in small group pull-out sessions, specifically for math and for English. This will happen during class as well as during non-instructional time. She also works with an occupational therapist 1 time a week to help with her handwriting and letter formation. She has small group reading services with a reading specialist 1 time per week. She has speech services with a speech and language pathologist 1 time per week. She receives ELD support 3 times per week for approximately 20 minutes per instance. She also has check-ins with the school counselor to help with, her ability to speak with other students in a confident manner and to just support her in her motivation. And then she has check-ins with the school dean as needed as well, because her previous school did see that she was dipping in her motivation as things got harder. The check-ins with the school dean supported her. So all of these services will continue going forward, and that makes our team quite large, and it makes Jocelyn quite busy. And so this is something important to keep in mind as we're supporting Jocelyn. Jocelyn's IEP goals, I won't go through every single one, but she has 2 writing goals, an in-class reading goal, an executive functioning goal, an occupational therapy goal, and then a reading goal with the reading specialist, another reading goal with a reading specialist, a speech goal, and then another speech goal. So each of the specialists that work with her will have a goal. And then what is important to note as teachers is that she will have these 2 writing goals and a reading goal, as well as her executive functioning goal, which focuses on using her technology in class and completing her homework. So getting into accommodations, I'll chat a little bit about the kind of executive functioning cross-content accommodations that she will receive. Preferential seating and pairing is going to be important. We need somebody that's supportive and is going to support her social emotional needs, because there are several factors at play that impact her emotion. Verbal tips, hints, and prompts are going to be key. Frequent teacher check-ins to just make sure she's feeling okay and understanding what's happening. Written tips, hints, and prompts. It's a little bit repetitive from the first, but verbally giving her these prompts as well as writing them. Fill in the blank notes, exemplars, use of reference sheets, and most important, extra time on assignments and assessments. She needs a little bit of extra time to sort through and process all of the information she's trying to express. Then she receives a Chromebook, read aloud technology, speech to text technology. For specifically her reading accommodations, what I would suggest is accommodating text by highlighting vocabulary, providing her an audio recording of the text, or using our read aloud technology, providing visuals, and previewing vocabulary, which is something I'm going to be doing with her. For writing, Jocelyn should be typing her assignments, and she should be using speech to text technology to type those assignments. For inclusion strategies, Jocelyn should be in the classroom, the gen ed classroom, but we should do a few things to make her successful. Make sure that she has a job when she's participating in a group. This way she is held accountable to accomplish something, because she can kind of hang back and let others do the work for her. Ensure she's using her editing checklist, which I've given a picture of to the side here. This is going to help her to go back and read her work. And again, just giving her frequent teacher check-ins, making sure she feels motivated and confident. Looking at some observations from her previous school, again, they noticed that when they watched Jocelyn in class, she had a significant dip in her off-task behavior at the same time that the number of times she participated in class was low. So just making sure that we're soft calling Jocelyn so that she has a second to catch up, process what's going on, and then give her responses. We also noticed that she struggled with homework, not because she was not engaged in class, but because she had a really hard time kind of like understanding what's going on with homework. The more times that we merited her for completing her homework, the better she did. Finally, behavior management. She needs to be accountable for staying engaged during class. So she should receive warnings for off-task behavior and then a demerit. And she should be held accountable for completing her homework using this homework tracker. Finally, team communication. I've listed here our kind of roles and responsibilities. I will coordinate our meetings, support teachers with their accommodations, work directly with Jocelyn, be the primary contact for parent communication, and then consult with our service providers. Content teachers, accommodate your work with me when you need help. I'm here for you. Service providers, let me know what I can do for you. And finally, parents will be tracking progress, communicating any issues at home, and raising questions or concerns. As always, this research was based on research-based methods, and we should continue to use those as we work with Jocelyn. Lastly, I have some observational input from previous math teacher, as well as an example of Jocelyn's work, and I would advise you to take a look. We are really excited to have Jocelyn join us, and I hope that she will be successful at this school. I know with the dedication of all of us, she will be. Thank you, and have a good day.